Hello YouTube, in this video I'm answering to a question that a subscriber had, which is a very good question, and it was why I lift slow. Why are my negatives slow and what is the point? You will see a ton of bodybuilders doing very slow reps on the negative, on the positive, so on the eccentric and concentric phases of the movement. The question is why? Well, most of the time you will hear people say it's because it puts more tension on the muscle, therefore it is feeding into the time under tension, right? The more the muscle is under tension, the more the fibers get attacked and destroyed, and the more they grow and the more hypertrophy occurs. Do I agree with that? I agree with that to a certain point. Because if you do a movement, let's say you do a squat, if you do it to depth, the travel distance remains the same whether you do it slow or not. What changes is the tempo of the rep, and it's the time the muscle spends either compressing itself or extending itself. So I do agree that one, more muscle fiber damage will occur if you lift slow, and also that the difficulty of the lift becomes much greater if you lift slow, meaning that doing tempo squats is going to be harder than doing normal squats, and it's the same for almost every lift. Now, does that mean that people who lift a little bit faster are doing it wrong? No, it depends on your goals, it depends on what you want, and for certain lifts, you might be more comfortable lifting fast. I personally also believe that doing slow negatives is going to preserve form. I'm the type of person that if I get too hyped up when I lift, I tend to rush my negatives and it affects my positive because my form is not perfect. The prime example of that for me is squats. Squats for me is all about the negative. I don't care about the positive as a bodybuilder. It might sound strange because you're squatting, you want the bar to go up, you don't want to be stuck in the hole. Well, for me, I've always found that if I control the negative, I will get the positive. If I get it down, I will get it up. For bench, it's not true. No matter how much I control the negative on bench, it's never helping my positive. So bench is one example where I do rather fast negatives. I don't bounce the bar on my chest, I always keep the control, but I don't slowly lower it. I lower it with purpose, with my lats, but I'm not going to do a slow negative. Same for deadlift. I don't do negatives on deadlift because it's a positive only lift. So that's another lift where I don't do it, which is why I don't want to be dogmatic and say, yes, you should always lift slow. No, lift slow on lifts that are going to be beneficial with a slow negative. As far as the positive phase of the lift goes, it's my opinion that the positive phase should be as fast as possible. You should be explosive, meaning that when you go down on the squat, you go as slow as you can to make sure that everything is nice and tight and that the muscle fibers are being stretched. And when you are about to release that energy, you push as fast as you can. You want to go up as fast as you can. I do that for every single lift besides curls. Curls are one of the lifts where I found that a slow positive has an influence on the quality of the squeeze I can get at the top. So any curling motion, be it supinated or with a neutral grip or with a normal grip, I will do rather slow. The negative in the case of curls will depend on the bar I use. If I use an easy bar, it will be a slow negative. If I use dumbbells, it's going to be a very fast negative. So I also want with that video to diffuse the idea that only bodybuilders should do slow reps. If you care about injury prevention, if you care about proper form, and if you care about proper muscle activation, you should give slow negatives a try. The reason why I talk about muscle activation is because if you rush the negative phase, you might end up relying on your stronger muscle parts to get the weight up. So you're always going to be using that I think the word in English is clutch. It's something that you rely on. if you're a bodybuilder and you do a certain movements, you need to know in your head what muscle is going to be activated and what you want to work. For example, when I do push-ups, if I do push-up fast and I just crank them out, I will feel only my front delt, my shoulder and my back. But that's not what push-ups are for. I want to feel my chest. But if I go slow and I slowly lower, I can feel the entire pectoral stretching. And then when I push on the positive, I can feel it too. So it's the same for squats. If you're the type of person who don't feel their glutes on squats, try a slow negative. And once you focus on the negative enough that you feel your glutes stretching, you will soon realize that on the positive, you feel them working much more, because the muscle you feel stretching and storing energy, you will almost always feel it again when that energy is released. It's also the reason why, if you're like me and you have a bad mind-muscle connection with your lats and you have bad lats, I really advise you to do slow pull-ups, very slow, where you let it stretch, stretch, stretch. And then when you pull, you don't even have to think about what muscle to pull with. The muscle that you felt stretching is going to be the one that you feel pulling. So that's my expertise on slow reps. It's interesting too, because I never really noticed that I do slow reps, but now that I watch the videos of me lifting, it's a fact. I always do. And as long as I will be bodybuilding, I will be doing slow negatives and fast positives, because I think it's the way to go. So this is it. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, let me know. I would be happy to discuss it with you and to share experience with you. Have a good day.